The previous few verses have been concerned with coming and going, with momentariness. And the understanding here is that what comes and goes isn't real. I suspect we're getting caught up here in some ancient philosophical understanding, perhaps to do with the phenomenon of kalapas. Kalapas are extremely small, to the point of invisible, material particles which come and go in and out of existence trillions of times a second. It's not part of standard Buddhist teachings, although it is a teaching which is focused on by certain schools of Vipassana meditation. But as always, I like to see what these verses are pointing to in our immediate experiencing. And what's coming and going all the time, what's flitting about, is the attention. The attention is awareness in motion. I say it's always flitting about, but you might say, well, what if the attention is focused on something over a period of time? Well, the argument then would be that that focus is having to be continually renewed. Otherwise, the attention would go somewhere else. There has to be something driving the attention to keep it in one place for any length of time. And that driving has to be in play and keep the attention, which is like a machine gun shooting out bullets. If you want to keep it firing in the same direction, there has to be some renewing impulse to keep it there. Otherwise, it will get diverted. So according to the argument, whatever the attention is focused on is not real, because it's momentary, it's continually shifting. Reality only happens when awareness stops projecting outwards in the form of the attention and comes to rest in itself. So this is the gist of the next verse. Verse 828. The city of the Gandharvas, Maya-like forms, how can they be otherwise than momentary? Realities are characterized with unreality, and how can they be causal agencies? So the realities that we're identified with, that constitute our existence, are characterized by unreality. There's an important point here though. Whatever the attention is focused on, that becomes our reality. If we're watching a movie, that becomes our reality. We enter into it. When we turn away from the movie and turn to something else, that becomes our reality. Perhaps we turn to somebody in the room and ask them to make us a cup of tea. So that person becomes our reality. When the cup of tea comes, that becomes our reality. When the movie starts after the commercial break, that becomes our reality. And when we have to get up in the morning to go to work, that becomes our reality, and so on. So we live in many realities, and they're always changing. So the argument here is they're not real. But the question that is asked is, How can they be causal agencies? How can a mirage be a causal agency? It can't. How can a dream be a causal agency? It can't. How can ephemeral realities be causal agencies? They can't. There is just the shifting from one reality to another. Causal agencies is one of the stories that we come up with to reinforce the attention going out, to reinforce the awareness projecting itself outwards. Now, the whole point of this verse, which is what we should be asking ourselves, what is the point of this verse, is to step back from what we regard as the world. The world also includes, remember, our sensibilities and our ideas and thoughts and feelings. We step back from this. So these verses are trying to give another argument for doing so by stressing the unreal nature of what we believe to be the world. Stressing once again its dreamlike nature and attempting to counter, with various degrees of success perhaps, the argument of causality, of causation. The idea that this world stretches back in time, it has its roots in the distant past, and the present situation is the result of causal agencies. We can dismiss this because consciousness gives history to whatever it is aware of. It does this in dreams. I had a dream last night where I was walking along a street. I hadn't been there for a while, but I remembered if I didn't go onto the main road but carried along some of the side streets, I'd come to some quite interesting comic book shops. I used to be an avid comic book collector. I'd never been in this street in my life. It was supposed to be a particular street from the city that I grew up in, but it wasn't. It was more like a street in America or Canada. But in my dream it was a street that I grew up in, and I remembered particular shops. So that's what my awareness, or that's what awareness was aware of, and what it was aware of came with a history. So we can see this mechanism of consciousness in play. You can see it when you start watching a movie halfway through and you start trying to reconstruct what's happened. You'll come up with all sorts of histories until you find one that fits best. So this is what we do. We're quite concerned to give things a history. We're quite concerned to introduce causal agencies. The next verse addresses the same matter. Verse 829. That the mind is set in motion by ignorance, which has been accumulated by thought since beginningless past, that it is bound to birth and destruction. This is the imagination of the theorisers. So this is very good, because you could argue that our present psychology is a result of past conditions. The mind is indeed set in motion by ignorance. This is the attention flitting from one thing to the other. it gets into certain patterns. What the attention focuses on gets into a certain pattern. Certain grooves get established. Certain sensibilities, combinations of thoughts and feelings get established. Consciousness gets trapped in this. And this is what's been going on since the beginningless past. It's bound to birth and destruction. So this is actually the case. But we're told this is the imagination of the theorisers. In other words, we can also drop the story because it gives credence, it gives weight to our own sensibilities. This is such a deep thing. This story is allowing space for our basic sensibilities, for what I sometimes call a stub personality, to still hold on. To still suck in awareness. That we can drop it and be like the deities of the Abhasvara heaven, whose joy is not conditioned by anything. Whose meditation is that of unlimited bliss. This should be our meditation, exploring our capacity for unlimited bliss. In which case, this stub personality is what in the past I've called the fundamental mood tone. A bit of your psychology which doesn't let go. We can smile at it. We can embrace it lovingly. It's only a problem if we want it to be. It's only a problem if we want it to be.